Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Other Side of Music. Today, we are interviewing podcasters Joe and Antonia from Decoding Taylor Swift. Hi, everybody. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing great.
We're
Thanks for
doing
having
good.
us.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having us. Yeah.
Good, good. So, I'm going to jump right in and ask probably a question you guys get asked all the time. Why Taylor Swift?
I think you are very suited to answer that question.
I'm supposed to answer this question, but if I answer it, I'm going to start with a certain story.
Oh my God. Please. Okay.
Please
Keep
do.
it to a minimum.
Okay,
Keep it to a minimum.
So, when my daughter was 3, she started saying blah, blah, blah to me. And I was okay. You know, kids repeat things they hear. I was okay if she understood what they meant.
He does this all the time.
So I said, do you know what blah, blah, blah means? And she paused and said, it's when Daddy says something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, really gets the voice down. He really gets the voice down.
So that, obviously I had like a, PhD in physics from IT, and I was a writer, but, I couldn't communicate to my daughter. So I really sort of set out on a mission to become a better storyteller, because kids want to hear stories, and I studied storytelling and got very into it. And over the years, the ancient great storytellers were the bards, right? They went from town to town singing their the hero's journey stories. And the modern day bards are the singer-songwriters. And Antonia introduced me to very many. But Taylor sort of emerged as the one who was really, really trying the hardest to write stories in the classical poetry form. And I had a kind of interest in Shakespeare before that. So I was noticing that you could kind of look at Taylor the same way you looked at some Shakespeare plays. So just wanted to find a way to make it accessible to talk about storytelling. And that's how I got into it. And how did you get into it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've listened to Taylor my whole life. The only video game my parents would let me play was Minecraft, so I would listen to her while Minecrafting. I remember like a core memory is sitting on your rug and listening to like all of Red and then all of 1989. And I don't know. Taylor Swift is not, I mean, she's not my most listened to artist, but I
Sure.
find that I know her entire discography somehow. And
Well, you used to listen to it to relax.
I did. That's true. So the other reason is that, I don't know, like I have anxiety, and for some reason, when I was very young, the only song that I could listen to when I got a little bit like overwhelmed or kind of sad was Blank Space, and that would like calm me down for some reason. And I don't know. I find that I understand where people come from if they say they don't like Taylor Swift, but I don't understand when they say there's not one song that they can connect to, because I feel like the range that she presents is truly, it's very, very hard, and it speaks to her, I think, talent that she managed to fully switch from country to pop and kind of had her folk era, and was able to do all of that with such, I don't know, I mean, she demonstrated such prowess in each era. And so I feel like, I think that she's definitely a generational artist. But he is the Swiftie, and I'm just a music lover and literature fan who does this podcast with him.
It is.
I'm the young girl that he hides behind to make more sense of why he's doing it. We love him.
When she isn't around, then I tell everyone that she's the
exactly.
That she's the Swiftie, and
no, be not ashamed. Be not ashamed. It's like those like full adults that like My Little Pony. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
but Taylor Swift, I truly believe. I was talking to my old science teacher today, and he's like a 32-year-old white man. He's like obsessed with. I mean, he's not obsessed with Taylor Swift, but he likes Taylor Swift. And he's like, my sister likes Taylor Swift. I mean, like, I think Taylor Swift, like, I think everybody honestly should listen to at least one or two that they like. I think that that's a good, healthy playlist, is one or two Taylor Swift songs, you know?
Oh, yeah. My oldest daughter, when she was in high school, she had 3 of her friends. They were guys. Taylor Swift was coming to town, and they were Swifties.
Yeah.
They saved their money for the tickets. They had like Swifty shirts on or something. Yeah, like they were all in. I'm like, that is
Right.
so funny. But yeah, Swifties are hardcore. Like they're
It's true. It's
they're all
true.
ages, which is really cool. I mean,
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons she's so popular is she's had a very strategic effort to engage fans
hmm
from the beginning, in all different ways, including putting kind of these Easter eggs, these little hidden messages or references to her life or other famous people. So she's certainly a great businesswoman.
Oh yeah,
Clearly,
yeah.
really, you could even call her a genius in that regard. And I think that we interviewed somebody who had mentioned that one thing about Taylor is her lyrics are generally pretty clean,
hmm
right? She could let like her 5-year-old
Right.
listen, and she didn't have to worry, right,
Yeah.
that this was going to be one of those songs that you, as a parent, you might be like, I wish you weren't listening to that.
Right.
Yeah. She does. She's easy on the ears, and she's a very smart. Now, my big question, well, one of my questions is
Mhm.
Taylor Swift, I feel, has made part of her popularity has been every time she breaks up with somebody, she writes about it.
Yeah.
And then it's like all over the place. Like everybody knows. But now she's going to get married. Um, and how do you think that? Well, this is a two-parter. So this
Yeah.
first part, she's going to get married. So how do you feel that's going to affect her music? Do you think it's going to be like all
Yeah.
lovey-dovey, the next album that comes out because they're all like married and, in that romantic honeymoon phase they call it? Yeah.
I think I think that Taylor Swift herself has always kind of been worried about, like, will she be able to find, she said this, like, will she be able to find, kind of tap into her reservoir, find, I don't know, some sort of inspiration while being happy. Because it's true, a lot of her songs do come from heartache and stuff. But I think, I mean, I think it's hard to tell right now. She wrote this album while dealing with a breakup, but also a lot of it was happier because of, Travis. And it's met, you know, it's been met with a lot of critical acclaim and, everybody's talking about it. But would I say that it's her best album? Not at all. I think the fact that the most devastating breakup she went through became her most, powerful, a full 10-minute song
Yeah.
says a lot about what she's good at. I think Taylor Swift is somebody who just, I don't know her personally, but she seems like somebody who feels emotions very deeply. I think you have to be, in this profession. And feeling sadness very deeply means you're able to art and being able to articulate it, which is where I think her true genius lies. I think she's able to write that very well. I think we have yet to see whether or not I think she's not reached her peak. She's not used to living this kind of happy, settled down life. I
Right.
think that's just another type of song that she has not mastered, but I think she could. I think there are happy songs like, Walking on Sunshine or Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, Mr. Blue Sky, all sorts of very popular songs are very happy.
hmm
I don't know whether she will be able to write in that vein, but I'm sure if anybody can, it's her.
It's a very interesting question. I think by and large we don't imagine story based songs that are like very happy, right?
Right.
In a fairy tale,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
get and they all lived happily ever
That's a
after,
good
right? That's
point.
the boring part that no one's interested in. I was listening to Beatles. The Disney re-released the original Beatles anthology, which is like 12-part docu-series that three remaining Beatles did after John Lennon did 3 decades ago, and it's really incredible. Now they chugged out a lot of really upbeat songs,
Yeah.
right? All you need is love. I want to hold your hand. I mean,
hmm
but on the other hand, they also put out Yesterday, right?
Right.
So
And in my life, let it be.
so um I think it will be interesting to see. Now, we always associate Taylor with writing songs that are about her, right? I mean, she did, however, put out like folklore,
Yeah,
right? So she can write about other people.
Mhm.
So that is a question, and some of those are pretty tragic stories. We talked, about Cardigan,
Yeah.
which is definitely a
Or
relation.
August, even.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
Right. There's a 3-part love triangle, so look, Shakespeare, right? I mean, if you're trying to get to the level of I'm a great storyteller, right? You have to be able to tell stories that aren't just about your life, right?
I think that's the challenge. I think that's what separates her from Shakespeare a little bit, is because the medium that she uses, which is like the modern pop song, is like you kind of have to. It makes it seem like it's about yourself when you're writing.
Right.
It's a lot harder to kind of just write stories. I think if she were a poet, if she lived, in the 1800s, it would be, fiction books. It would be poetry and Emily Dickinson type things. But yeah, it's true. I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I think it's harder to write songs about happiness. I was just reading this article saying that this, I think, Dutch neuroscientist who really liked happy songs was trying to like find the formula for the happiest song, and he found that songs had to either be about love or nonsense to be considered happy, and she's not very good at nonsense, so that eliminates 50% of what she could write about. Whereas sad songs are, sad songs are pretty much all about stories, because that's the saddest thing that you can tell.
And
is a story.
it's interesting. The Beatles did write a lot of those. We all live in a yellow submarine.
Yeah, right.
Right. So they did a lot of fantasy.
Or I Am the Walrus.
Yeah.
What the hell does that
Yeah.
mean?
So
And,
yeah,
yeah.
they did do fantasy type songs,
They did.
and now she does some, over the
Right.
top fantasy songs, but usually they're not happy. They're
No, like Wonderland or something. is the
or
one
even
that
Blank
comes to
Space,
Yeah,
where it's just
sure.
like I'm just gonna. You think I'm a a bad dater. I'm gonna like write a song where I'm
Right.
like the worst possible.
True. Yes, exactly.
Now, what has been, okay, this is to each of you, what has been your favorite song to decode? Antonia, you tell me first.
Okay. My favorite song to decode, I think. Oh man, oh my God, you're putting me on the spot. Okay, my favorite song to decode, I'm just gonna say it because I think I think it was one of the first kind of examples that my dad would use when he talked about decoding, and that was kind of Getaway Car. I
Yeah.
really liked. I just think like the historicity of it, or if that's even a word. I'm pretty sure it is, or
We
whatever.
make up new words all the time on this
Who
podcast.
cares? That's what Shakespeare did, exactly. And so I think like the Bonnie and Clyde references, the circuit, like I think that it's perfect foreshadowing. It's a great example of that because, it starts where she's like, oh, nothing good starts in a getaway car. And then obviously like she met the dude in the getaway car, and obviously she leaves at the end. But, I think it's just like, it was always one of my favorite songs. And I was actually the one who convinced
She is.
he likes to tout. He's like, oh man, have you listened to mine? Oh my gosh, have you listened to like all of these great songs? Wow. Or like Long Live. Wow. And I was like, you know what song you should listen to, Joe? You should listen to Getaway Car, because I love Getaway Car. I played it for him the first time. He was like, yeah, this is fine. Can we listen to mine? And I was like, okay. And then the next day I find out that he's like, have you listened to Getaway Car, Antonia?
Well,
This
that
is
was
such an
it. Wasn't the
amazing
next
song.
day, but
Basically it was.
when I was preparing to launch the
And
podcast.
men do this to you. Men do this.
When we were preparing to launch, start really doing this, I decided to go and listen to her movie, Miss Americana.
Yeah.
Right, and her biopic or biopic,
Right.
depending on,
Biopic sounds like a procedure. It's biopic. I just want to make that very clear.
I can assure you that
For those that don't know, Joe and Antonia are dad and daughter.
if that wasn't
So that
obvious.
explains the whole dynamic there for everybody.
Yeah, right. We're not two random people. It's true.
No.
Well, he's a little random, but I love him still. Aw.
You know, Yes, that song. So she sings that song, part of that song in that movie. So I was like, oh, well, this must be important if she's one of the few songs she puts in her own movie. And as is often the case, it does surprise me. I have to listen to a song many times
Yeah.
to really get what she's doing.
Sure.
And because she's doing a lot. That is sort of one of our things, is like, you might think, if you're not a Swiftie, you just casually listen, you might think, well, why did she put that in, or why did she put that in? But when you realize, well, she doesn't do things by accident, right? And so when she refers to Bonnie and Clyde, there's a reason. Possibly the reason is that Bonnie was actually a poet herself, there's a lot of foreshadow in the song. That's what that is about. And for me, it's kind of an easy choice. I know Antonia couldn't pick this song because she knew what I was just going to say, All Too Well. But it was Antonia. I had heard All Too Well, before,
Sure.
in the 5.5-minute version. But when she re-recorded the albums, so as much it was a lot of angst for her, thank you.
Thank God, I know.
Thank you, Scooter Braun, and
that's the one my teacher likes all too well. He likes All Too Well and Blank Space. Yeah.
The 10.5 version
It's really a masterpiece. It's crazy.
of All Too Well is we dove into that. There was a couple lines in the song that bothered me when I first heard it.
Sure.
And so I played it a lot. And that's what sort of and then I kind of figured out, well, why she did that.
Right.
And, that's what sort of got the idea really for this podcast.
Yeah.
And I think that, as Antonia said, she has a lot of variety. And so you can find a song, and I do understand. I was just talking to someone yesterday who not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, and I understand it. But it's like TV today. If you can't find a TV show today that you like, it's like there's a lot of variety out there. So, I tell people, if you want to know her musicianship, watch the Tiny Desk concert that she did at NPR, where she just has the guitar and the piano.
I know. I think if you want to get to know an artist, you should watch their Tiny Desk. I really do think so. I think, Faye Webster's Tiny Desk is amazing. Claro's, Tyler, the Creator's, all of their Tiny Desks.
Now, Tiny Desk, so some of my listeners and people that I interview independents.
Yeah.
Independent musicians, independents.
Sure.
So tell people that are listening how they find Tiny Desk in case they don't know.
Oh, go to YouTube, search up Tiny Desk. I'm sure they have playlists. Tiny Desk is a production from NPR, where they'll have musicians over and they'll ask them to play more acoustic, kind of more homey. They literally bring their kind of NPR people in as audience.
It's like one of the NPR.
It's in an office. It's literally in an office.
It's literally a tiny desk.
Yes, it's really cool. The artists have to be more creative with their arrangements. They'll kind of do mashups. I think that it really demonstrates artists' creativity and the direction that they want to go with their music, because it forces them to move into a different arena. And I think that's when they're kind of, I don't know, they have to still make sure to be authentic in that arena.
They have to be musicians because they're not doing auto-tune, right? They're not overdubbing, right? There's the synthesizers.
And it's more intimate, so you really have to kind of be on your game.
Yeah.
That's Tiny Desk. We love Tiny Desk.
We do.
And if you're a Spotify user and you are a fan of kind of more jazz, more, indie musicians I find have this, but the recordings at Electric Lady, Claro and Faye Webster, just as a recommendation, you guys should all listen to Claro and Faye Webster's Electric Lady recordings of their songs. They're really good.
Thank you.
The other thing I tell people to do,
just while we're on a music podcast,
if they want to see how Taylor's a little different from others, is to watch the music video.
Sure, that too.
For Antihero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's just not. The Antihero is a very unusual song for a pop singer. It is
and
her,
it's also kind of fantastical.
And it is right. It is, and particularly the music video is just bonkers, right? I mean, it's about as bonkers. Not that there are definitely a lot of music videos over the years that have been relatively bonkers.
I mean, Bad Blood too, obviously, that famous music video.
But This one is an unbelievably confessional song, right? In which basically she's saying what other people have been saying for a while, which is, well, it can't all be the guy's fault, right? You keep going out with these guys and it ends badly, and you write a song about them, and after, okay, the first 3 maybe, but now it's like 8. So the song is about, like, you know, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. I mean, it's kind of a recognition that, you know, I'm stuck in this pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, if you weren't decoding Taylor Swift, who would you decode?
You can go first.
Oh man, if I didn't have to worry about like trying to get a lot of people to listen, you know, Shakespeare, you know, is definitely, I've got, you know, I think there's a lot going on in Shakespeare's plays, and that sort of is how I got into this. If it were, so, you know, that's sort of that would be my next dream, you know, is to do that.
Okay.
I was thinking about this, and I think that I would not do decoding one artist, but I would do a podcast analyzing different artists' responses, different artists' forms of like cultural preservation. I'm thinking specifically of, you know, like Bad Bunny or even Fontaine's DC talking about culture in their art, and cultural erosion, you know, because of, you know, colonialism. I talk about how music has I talk about the ways that like Western culture has influenced the way that people make music, and how, you know, or like Tyla and like Afrobeats. Obviously, you know, white girl alert, but I would totally love to make a podcast.
Didn't notice that.
I know.
They never would have noticed that.
It's something fun about me that not many people know, but I'm white.
To the listeners, to those who don't, in case you were at all confused.
In case you were thinking, why is Barack Obama on the other side of this microphone? And in fact, it's me. Hi.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Many people get confused, but I really think that it's so fascinating to think about, like, one of the symptoms of globalization has just been music becoming so different, and every piece of, like, you know, in Ireland especially, I'm thinking, and in, you know, I mean, reggaeton is this combination of, like, you know, jazz, reggae, and, like, you know, kind of like Latin music. I think like that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I would totally be like doing a podcast about how different artists approach authenticity and bringing their culture into a world where it's like, I don't know, you know, not to be a nerd or whatever.
Well,
that's what I'm fascinated by that.
If the Beatles anthology gets into this, right? Because George Harrison got very into Maharishis and Eastern religion and going to India. He was the first person to get a sitar, have sitar in the opening of a song.
Wow.
And over time they got, you know, more of that sort of Eastern.
Yeah. I do a whole thing on like theremin. What the hell is theremin? Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is a you know, I think that's a great. We'll do it. We'll put it on the list.
Yeah, we'll put it on the list.
But
if it was just one artist, it would probably be, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Hozier or Phoebe Bridgers.
Okay.
Chapel Roan?
I do Chapel Roan. I think Chapel Roan does not have a large enough discography yet. I think I'd like to see her develop more, but yes.
Oh.
Or Billie Eilish?
I do Billie Eilish. She's super cool.
Yeah, there would be a lot on her.
Yeah,
I would think.
And the other one I would say, if it were
music.
music.
Or Adele. I love Adele.
Okay.
Or Lady Gaga.
No, I was Lady Gaga. I before Taylor, I, you know, definitely got
I love Lady Gaga.
Got into Lady Gaga.
Oh my God, surprise! Dyed hair white girl loves Lady Gaga, but I do, and she's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
You're funny. Yeah, Lady Gaga. I mean, yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Yes. There's so much there, and we're both Italian. Well, I'm half Italian, half Jewish, like this guy, but yes. Big Stefani Germanotta fan.
Yeah, that would be a good one. You guys could blend that in, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, I mean, she does collaborate with, I mean, she artistically, has she done any collaborations with Taylor Swift?
I don't know about that.
I'm sure they know each other and influence their music, but.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done any collabs, but she's been in movies.
Right.
Oh
She's
yeah,
done
no,
some
no,
very
she's.
interesting parts.
I
Yes.
saw her. Antonio and I have gone to see Adele and Lady Gaga, and we did see Taylor
Yes.
Eras tour.
Yes. The Eras tour. Wow. Yeah. Should we tease next season a little bit of what we're thinking?
Well, and for next season, we are actually
Yes.
thinking of uh, just like we did this album. We're going through this album and doing an episode on each of the 12 songs,
Okay.
starting with The Fate of Ophelia, ending with Life is Showgirl, probably in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But we're thinking of actually going through the set list
Yeah.
for the Eras tour,
Yeah.
which is like about 45 songs.
Spend next season doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and go through
Stay
that.
tuned. I know, teasing it for the first time.
No, I think that would be great, especially since the Eras tour is or it's going to be on Disney.
It
It
is.
is. Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I just
Yeah,
joined.
the last stop
show.
that she did
Yeah,
in Vancouver. We saw the stop before the last,
Right.
which is Toronto.
So we still had the new set.
We did get the new set. So it's but yeah, the other we saw Beyonce.
That
we
was
saw-
oh yeah, Beyonce could be
Right.
the other one.
Yeah, Cowboy
Although I don't know
Carter.
if we're the right people,
No,
but
we-
it would totally be cool.
we did go to Cowboy Carter
Yeah.
in July when she came to Maryland.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was an incredible, obviously.
Yes.
That was just incredible. So
That would be. Wow.
there's a lot of great musicians out there,
I know.
for sure.
I know. Seriously. I think honestly, like SoundCloud stuff like that has made it easier for a lot of people to get noticed and put their art out there. But yeah, it can be sometimes overwhelming how many good artists there are.
Yes, definitely. Now, being that you like so many artists and that you guys, do focus on Taylor Swift, if you could have your favorite meal with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Other than Taylor Swift?
Oh my god.
Yes, other than Taylor Swift.
Do not.
Oh, well,
you answer first. I have
well,
to
first of all,
think. Oh my
dead
God,
or
there's so
alive
many
is a lot of, that expands the territory. Although, so we're talking, I mean, if he spoke English, which he doesn't, although he probably can, would be interesting to talk to Jesus. I'm not going to say that
Oh my
wouldn't be.
gosh, you're the second person to mention Jesus in one of my
That's
podcasts.
crazy.
But, I think that's asking a lot. Although my second choice is still asking a lot, but I would certainly love to talk to Shakespeare. And he does speak, he's English. I mean, obviously, back in those days, they spoke Greek but yes, I would certainly love to. I have some questions for Shakespeare.
Right.
I really, really do
questions.
have some questions for Shakespeare. Whether he would answer them or not, I don't know.
I'd rather talk to Kit Marlowe, honestly. I feel like he would have some interesting insight into actual Shakespeare. But what I would choose, I feel like Moses would be a pretty chill guy if we're talking, people who can try to speak it. Also, the Prophet Muhammad. I feel like, I can't lie. I feel like that's just, same with Joan of Arc, because there are a lot of kind of retroactive, historical findings about their psyche and what they were like.
Well, then we have to talk to the Buddha. I think
I know.
probably.
Full table.
I also want to talk to the leader of the Jonestown cult. I feel like I just want to know what goes on behind that kind of I don't know. Or in that same vein, I feel like I just want to just sit down with Tom Cruise and ask if he's okay. If
come on, you would.
Him.
But you would talk to Rene Descartes or someone like.
I would talk to Descartes. Descartes is really cool. You know who I'd actually
She's
talk to?
She's taking philosophy.
I would
That's
talk
why
to.
I brought
I
that
would
up.
freaking talk to Aristotle and be like, what the hell is up with everything? Can you just fix all of your explaining? Can you just be clear for once in your life? But I would actually probably talk to Emily Dickinson if we're talking English speakers. I would really like to talk to Emily Dickinson. She's awesome. I would like to talk to Einstein. He's cool.
Yeah.
And I would probably honestly want to talk to, I don't know, Steve Biko or MLK too. I feel like they seem I don't know. I'm very interested in I don't know, the
Well,
kind
certainly,
of last 200 years
Yeah.
of social change and how that happens, especially because we were taught a letter from a Birmingham jail in my philosophy class. Ugh. And I don't know, like writers, people who write and that's their way of enacting social change. I'm always fascinated by that.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now with your full table of Jesus, Shakespeare,
Right.
Moses, Joan of Arc,
The
Tom
Prophet
Cruise.
Muhammad.
Yeah.
The dude who ran Jonestown.
I don't think they'd be talking to us. See, that's the problem with
They
that
know.
table. They would be talking to each other.
Oh my
And
God.
they would be like, why would I talk to these?
I feel like the Prophet Muhammad and the person who ran Jonestown would just be a really good pairing. I feel like that'd be really chaotic and wonderful.
That would be, that would be.
Mhm.
Now, what would you feed everybody?
Oh,
What would your favorite food? What your favorite foods? What would they be eating?
I'd feed them flaming hot Cheetos.
Okay.
I'd want to see how they react to them.
I think that
Straight red 40 dye in a can. I'd feed that to them. Mhm.
no. I think, well, I'm not really a cook, right?
Sure.
So I think you would have to get one of the great chefs, right? And
Mhm.
the least you could do if you were going to ask those to dinner is to get like a 2 or 3 star. I mean, some great chef to come in and
Sure. And what would they make? What's your favorite food?
Mhm.
Well, Jesus is there, so there's an infinite amount of fish and bread, right? So I think that we're, a nice branzino, I think would be good.
Yeah. Has to be, something halal and something kosher.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of things you can't do
Right.
there.
You
and-
probably shouldn't do
right.
Kool-Aid if you have the Jonestown
Right,
guy
that's
there.
true.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good.
I don't know if the Buddha is vegetarian or
I
not.
don't know.
I mean, obviously,
You could
in
ask
his
him.
in his early years, he was definitely not.
I do a mushroom risotto, actually. I feel like a mushroom risotto would be good. I love mushroom risotto.
Well, we should have, and some Middle Eastern fare seems,
Sure,
a
yeah.
kebab or
You
something
could do
like
kebab, that'd be good. Some tzatziki, put some tzatziki out there.
that.
Yeah.
Some baklava, maybe dessert
Yeah.
is a possibility.
Absolutely, tabbouleh.
Okay. I might
yeah.
have to join this dinner.
Yes,
Sounds
yeah.
good. It sounds good.
Or the old
Robin
school,
Stanton would also
you
be the
know,
person who's obviously invited.
the old school stuff of figs and dates, right? Milk and honey, right?
Yeah.
That's all, very,
Okay.
And then I think thered be one McDonald's burger just in the center. I feel like
'Cause
whoever
somebody
would
would eat it.
big enough to, it would be like a triple decker. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
hmm
Very good. So, before I forget, tell people how they can find you.
Oh, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts.
You could, I'd say I would always start with Spotify because they do the video. You have your choice. You can listen.
Yes,
to
if
the
you want to
audio.
see our beautiful faces. Yes, if you're still wanting to know whether or not we're white, the only way that you can find out for yourself is by going to Spotify and looking on the video. Exactly.
But yeah, Spotify and Apple Podcasts are probably the best ways to do it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
And the title of your podcast is Decoding Taylor Swift.
Decoding
Taylor Swift.
Decoding Taylor
Do you
Swift.
want to say it together? 1, 2, 3.
Decoding Taylor Swift.
Ah, there you go. See?
And we do decode. I mean,
do
that's
decode.
it's like I said, there's a lot going on in her songs, and you can really think of them. Not every single one of them,
Right.
but because she has 350 plus.
Yeah.
But a very large number of songs. She thinks of herself as a poet, right? I mean, she wrote a whole album and song, Torture Poets Department. So she really does generally try to write her songs in the vein of a classical poet, with foreshadow and a lot of metaphor
And imagery. She really likes imagery.
imagery, ironic twists.
She likes puns.
She likes puns. She likes hyperbole.
Yes.
She likes antithesis.
Yeah.
Darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream.
Yeah.
These sorts of lines she is pretty well known for. And I think a lot of people have in their head maybe an image of Taylor from when she was younger, when she first came on the music scene, and she has really matured. I think that really the pandemic,
Yeah.
was really a
Yeah.
dividing line there, and that's what got her to do two very poetry
True.
storytelling based albums.
I mean, that's why my favorite album is Evermore and Folklore. They're both, I think Folklore more so, but they're both truly amazing albums. Yeah.
You know, and some people, that is what made them Taylor fans,
Yeah.
and some people are like, this is like, I don't even want to listen to this.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, it's, and I think her strategy was, I'm not just gonna write the same song for a certain block of people, right? And she still writes about high school, but she's still trying to get teenage girl fans, you know, teenage fans, right? She's not like, okay, I'm mid-30s, I'm just going to write song for the people who grew up with me and are only interested in a
right. Although there has been kind of a market change and shift towards, you know, maybe an older audience, especially with Wishlist and stuff. But
yeah, I think she is well, she's become very prolific.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So
I mean, she can write about whatever she wants and she'll have fans. But the question is, you know, how she writes it.
Well, good. How long have you guys been doing the podcast?
We started in July.
Right.
I mean, we started recording early because they said you need to like do 5 podcast episodes before. But we started airing in July.
Yep.
And you know, we did not know. I mean, we knew that Taylor would release another album in the not too distant future. As it turns out, you know, the whole thing with her going on the Travis and Kelsey's podcast and announcing the new album.
Right.
So that definitely helped, you know, in terms of drawing people in and people who are searching for Taylor. But just, we're on we're about at episode 21 or so, 21 or about that.
Yeah.
All right. You guys are doing great.
Thank you.
Well, hey, you know, I mean, what's been your favorite kind of part of the music industry to kind of unlock doing the other side of music?
Oh, that's a good question. Removing the glamour.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
If you're you know, I'll say independent, you know, there's a whole lot of work and there is money to be spent. And they go hand in hand. So it's not an industry of, what is that movie? Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. No, you can build it, but you have to go get those people.
Got to do your own marketing in this. Yeah,
and you gotta be the everything until you get to the point. But like, you know, I've talked with people that they're like, you got to throw money behind yourself.
Right.
You know, even if it's just like a couple bucks, it's a couple bucks more than other people are doing. You know, and reading, researching, talking, meeting, watching, everything, you know. So while you can, you know, I do believe that some of these people I've interviewed, they're going to reach Beyonce, Taylor Swift levels one day. I mean, they're right there. But they're very honest, too, about, you know, when it was time, they got their money together and they got this person or added this person to their team, or, you know, it's not a free industry.
Right.
At all, you know.
Well, one of the people we talked to, this woman, Amy, who had worked at Cosmopolitan.
Right.
Taylor has like one of the best publicists in the business. This woman knew, a friend of hers was friends with this woman, and you know, she's just known as, you know, so you need a publicist, you know, if you know, you want to get certain levels. No, I agree that because the competition's too great, right? Because of the internet, you can get access to any type of music you want.
Yeah.
The very best recordings. You can just play those on loops.
Well, there's a whole website that my friend showed me like last year where it's like every single genre known to man on this website. You click on it and it'll give you like a random song each time from this genre, and it like, you never get repeats because there's just so, and then there's almost infinite amounts of genres. Like it's like bubbles. The genres are bubbles. I need to find this website again, but no, seriously.
Yeah, it's a lot of music out there, a lot of really great people, and I think at certain points people need to be able to listen to criticism. Not like mean, but, you know, if someone's trying to critique them in a constructive way, they need to listen and not take it personal. hear what they're saying.
Right.
Um, same as if people want to give pieces of advice, that's good. Don't, not in one ear, out the other. Take it, you know. Like your dad, when we were talking in the beginning, he asked me why I didn't put videos up on Spotify. And I said I wasn't sure because I had asked some people, but thanks to your dad, I'm going to take his advice, and yours is going to be the first video that I put up on Spotify.
Yay. Yes, the algorithm likes when you do video.
Yeah, then
apparently.
that's like I said, I learned that from our manager, who was a guy named Scott Porch,
Great guy.
of Big IP, and
Yes.
yeah, look, that's the other thing. You can't do this alone,
No.
right? Because there's too much to know,
Yeah.
right? You could be the world's greatest creative genius, but that's different from knowing marketing or knowing how to do the business side of things, right? I mean, obviously, Taylor has taken the business side of things very seriously,
Yes.
and
she seems to be quite good at it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I think seek out look, the best in any field are coachable. That's what Michael Jordan famously, that was what distinguished him. He was the best, but he was still coachable because he understood he could always get better.
Yeah.
Right? You could always get better. And by the way, I hope musicians who want to write songs listen to our podcast, because I think they would get a lot out of, understanding some key elements of storytelling.
Yeah.
Because look, pop songs, any type of song is a formula, right? There aren't that many pop songs that end up being Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Generally speaking, most of these songs are following a certain formula, and so people figure them out, and some people get very good at it, right? And John Lennon and Paul McCartney met when John Lennon was 15 in this small town, right, in working class Liverpool, England, right, but they became together, right, two of the greatest songwriters of all time. And then you have, Max Martin and Shellbach, who co-authored the songs on Life of a Showgirl with Taylor. They're Swedish guys. So two Swedish guys are literally two of the top pop songwriters of the last
English language,
of this century, and it's not their native language.
No,
so
it's fascinating.
The point is, you're not. In other words, people say, "Oh, you have to be born like with the gift of gab or something." No. Right? You look at whether it's Bob Dylan, you look at any of them.
You practice.
They have studied the great songwriters, right? They all studied Hank Williams, right? The Beatles listened to Fats Domino, right? It's nobody's coming out of nowhere here and suddenly being born.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, talent is just like applied passion. I feel like if you're really passionate, then you'll be motivated to do all this research and stuff.
Right, to learn more and see what's working and how they figured it out. Yep.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Well, my daughter is 18, and she has a lot of talent, as you can see. And you run a talent agency.
Oh, wow.
So I'm interested to know what's your advice, let's say, to an 18-year-old who might want to get involved in writing or improv comedy or musical theater, whatever it is. We don't know. I mean, she's young.
My advice is, do not give up. Be flexible.
Okay.
I know some artists that they're amazing, but where they live is very limited on opportunities. So be open to traveling or to moving. If you deem that what you're going to do is better suited or more opportunities here, and here, then be open to traveling here, and here, and find a promoter. So say you live in place A and you want to do opportunities in place B, then find a promoter in place B. Do your research, find out, and read contracts. I will say that again louder. Read contracts.
Okay.
And if
Yeah.
you have read that contract, you hand it off to an attorney or someone else that knows about contracts, so you get at least a second pair of eyes on that contract. Don't
Okay.
ever, ever, ever sign anything. Even if you think you understand it, don't sign
Right.
it. Hand it, give it to somebody else to read. I can't stress that enough.
Okay.
People have been
Well, that
signing contracts, or they're in a contract for a year and they're like, hey, wait a minute. And then, I've seen some contracts and I'm like, why on earth did you sign? Like,
Right.
read the contracts. Don't
Okay.
ever read it yourself and then sign it.
Okay.
Absolutely let somebody else see it. Attorney, if you can. That would be the
Okay.
best. But if you can't afford an attorney, throw it on somebody else's eyes that is more savvy with contracts,
Okay.
that can read in between the lines. That is my biggest piece of advice. Be
Okay.
flexible,
That's good
uh,
advice.
contracts, and just don't give up, because not everybody's going to like what you do, and no one's going to care about what you do more than you, right?
Right.
So I think if you can
that
do that,
That's
and I think
really
you
good
do,
advice. Thank you.
that's
you're welcome.
and I remember Taylor was asked by Vogue the question, what was what would be your advice
Yeah.
to a young musician starting out, and she said, get a good lawyer.
Right.
So yes,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and she would know, and yeah, and you can watch, if you're a podcaster, you can watch the Netflix 2-part series with the woman who did the podcast, Call Her Daddy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And their original contract was, which I don't think maybe they didn't have a lot of leverage, and that's,
Right.
of course, the point, but that gave them a fixed fee and not a share of the revenue for the first 3 years.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. And she tells this, because they were thinking of breaking the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And, it discusses, what happened. But yeah, uh,
Yeah.
legal documents, putting your signature on things matters. And the other thing I guess I would throw in is surround yourself with, the most important thing about any person in your circle is that you can trust them.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That you can trust them, whether they're part of what you're doing or not. Have someone you can trust. And I'm a big advocate that, you know, as a performer, if someone comes up to you and tells you you have to pay a certain amount to be in a show, you better turn around and ask them what is the benefit to you?
Right.
Is there going to be a big name in the audience that you're going to get a chance to talk to, or a big
Right.
name performing that you're going to get an opportunity to talk to afterwards and
Right.
meet their manager or their agent, you
Right.
know? Um, but other than that, there's a lot of pay to play out there, and they'll be like, yeah, pay $100 and you can play 2 songs in my show. For what?
Right.
They're making money, but you're not making anything, and there's
Right.
no benefit to you.
Right.
So unless you can see an absolute benefit to doing it,
Okay.
other than exposure,
Right.
just move along. Other
Okay.
opportunities will come along.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. Well, thank you, Robin. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome. So this has been fun. I'm glad you guys came on today.
Thank you. I'm so glad you hosted us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And everybody go to a streaming platform for podcast and look up Decoding Taylor Swift. As you
Yeah.
see, they are a lot of fun. And yeah, I have favorited your podcast, so I will
Thank you.
definitely be tuning in.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
I will send you guys the links when I get this uploaded, which will probably be tomorrow.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful to be on.
So you guys have a good day, or I guess evening at this point.
It
That
is,
is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
That is true.
Gets dark early, yes. It's
Yeah.
almost the shortest day of the year, and then they'll start getting longer.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I like
So
it
soon.
like that. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.